Well, hi again, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of Diamond Chat, brought to you by Dr. Karen Kramer, your hometown dentist in Grafton and Elyria, and also sponsored by First Federal Savings of Lorraine. A little bit later on, they will have for us our teams of the week. Tim Elkhorn with AM 930 WEOL each and every week, joined by Sean Bennett from the Chronicle Telegram. And Sean, we're at that time. It's unique to spring sports with baseball and softball in the fact that tournaments have started, at least on the softball side, while regular season play is still going on. It's a very unique aspect as far as baseball and softball.
Yeah, it's nice to see that Mother Nature isn't discriminating. She's postponing tournament games just as well as she does the regular season games, wrecking havoc to that schedule just like she did the regular season schedule. But yeah, it's kind of cool that you can cover a sectional game today and cover the same team a week later, and they're still doing regular season or conference games. So yeah, it's kind of cool.
And one of the things that the OHSAA has done now that hasn't been this way for as long as I can recall, the tournaments are staggered, like girls and boys basketball, where one starts one week and then one starts the following week, so that your state championship games will not be on the same weekend. I think that's a great idea.
Right, especially if you have a student body that wants to see a team maybe that gets to both state tournaments, and they want to be able to root on the softball team one week and the baseball team the next week. So yeah, it's a great opportunity.
Yep. So again, we'll talk more about that as Diamond Chat moves along here in the next few weeks. Well, let's talk about our top performers of the week, as each week Sean and I pick 3 top performers from baseball and softball. We'll start on the baseball side this week. And boy, it was a big week for a lot of guys, but I had to narrow it down to 3. So here we go. From Elyria Catholic, Brendan Holly. EC's playing some very good baseball right now, and Brendan Holly has really gotten hot at the plate. In the past week, he hit .545. He was 6 for 11, had a couple of home runs, 7 RBIs. In fact, both of those home runs came in the same game, as he hit 2 against Normandy. Second top performer, Wellington's Ben Higgins, another young man that has really turned it on at the plate, as in the last 3 games, Ben Higgins hitting .700. He's gone 7 for 10 in his last 3 games, including 7 RBIs, and it was tough competition. He hit 7 for 10 against Elyria Catholic, St. Ed's, and the Buckeye Bucks. So young Ben Higgins over at Wellington with a very good week against some rugged opponents. And our third top performer from North Ridgeville High School, we're going to shift to the mound on this one, Ryan Calvert, young pitcher for the North Ridgeville Rangers. Boy, he had 2 outstanding performances for Matt Ponning's team. Ryan Calvert against North Olmsted went 5 innings, gave up 1 earned run, only 3 hits, struck out 7. Then he came back and pitched another gem against Westlake. Again, 5 innings, 1 earned run, only 2 hits, and 6 strikeouts in that ball game. So in 2 starts last week, Ryan Calvert over at North Ridgeville, 10 innings pitched, gave up only 2 earned runs, just allowed 5 hits, and struck out 13 batters. So a great week on the mound for Ryan Calvert over at North Ridgeville. So again, 3 top performances baseball-wise: Brendan Holly, Elyria Catholic; Ben Higgins of the Wellington Dukes; and Ryan Calvert of the North Ridgeville Rangers. 3 outstanding performances.
And I'm going to switch it around. I'm going to start with a pitcher and then go 2 hitters.
Okay.
So we're going to start with Madison Oberg of Amherst. And I'm sure every athlete in high school on senior night wants to have a good performance. Madison Oberg on senior night threw a perfect game.
Doesn't get any better than that.
Then went 2 for 4 with 2 home runs and 4 BIs at the plate in a 19-0 Southwestern Conference win over North Olmsted. So just about as good as you could script a senior night. And obviously, the fellow senior under Casey McGraw had a huge night as well. She also hit a pair of doubles with an RBI and a run scored in a 5-0 win over Avon on Monday, and improved to 16-1 in the pitcher circle with a 13-0 win over Olmsted Falls on Tuesday. So a really great week for Madison Oberg. Next up is Dalen Baker from North Ridgeville, a freshman. In 4 games, she went 10 for 14, which is a .714 batting average.
Wow.
With a home run, 2 doubles, 8 runs scored, and 5 stolen bases. She's among the top 10 in Lorain County in runs scored, hits, triples, and stolen bases. She added 3 hits with a double and a 15-0 win over Lorain in Division I sectional semifinal on Monday. So great week for a freshman there. And obviously they have another big freshman in Katie Barnum who had a perfect game this week. She was our Chronicle Player of the Week last week, or just a few days ago. So the freshmen are getting it done in North Ridgeville.
How about the 9th graders?
Yeah.
Very well done.
Our last top performer, Autumn Accord of Keystone. In 4 games, all Wildcat victories, went 6 for 11, a 545 batting average with 4 doubles, a home run, 8 RBIs, and a run scored. She ranks among the top 10 in Lorain County in batting average, RBIs, and doubles, which actually she leads the county with 17 doubles this season.
She's an amazing player. She really is phenomenal.
Yeah, she is fantastic. So Madison Oberg of Amherst, Dalen Baker of North Ridgeville, and Autumn Accord of Keystone are my top 3 performers on the softball side this week.
All right, so those are the individuals that we kind of honor and pay respect to here on our Diamond Chat show. Let's talk about some teams, and it's time for our first Federal Savings of Lorain Teams of the Week. I'll get to name a baseball team. Sean will get to name a softball team as the first Federal Savings of Lorain Team of the Week. Now, I've kind of had this honorable mention thing going on. My honorable mention, Keystone, just real quick. I'll tell you what, Bert Fitzgerald's team ranked number 4 in the state of Ohio. They are putting together a sensational season, 15-0 in the pack, 19-2 overall. They clinched the Pac Stars division 9 of the last 12 years. Keystone has won the Pac Stars in baseball. So they're my honorable mention. But my first Federal Savings of Lorain Team of the Week, Elyria Catholic. I think the Panthers are getting hot at the right time of the year. This is a club that has tremendous talent. We talked about Brendan Holly, of course, Jack Laird, Leighton Banjoff going to Nebraska on a baseball scholarship. Bruce Lisicki's team is starting to turn it on. They had a 3-0 week last week. They really clubbed Wellington 12-2, beat Normandy 7-1. That was the game where Brendan Holly had the 2 home runs. And then they pounded Parma 9-0. So 28-3, they outscored their opponents last week, ran the table. Again, tournament time right around the corner for EC. I think they're getting hot. They're in the same division now as Keystone. They're both D2 teams, so we'll see if they end up matching up. But I'll go with EC this week as my first Federal Savings of Lorain Team of the Week. They had a great week.
Yeah, and that's when you want to become good. Just like, we always say that in wrestling. Oh, you're peaking at the right time. That's the great thing, is to get going hot right before postseason. My first Federal Savings of Lorain Team of the Week on the softball side is Keystone, who could probably be the Team of the Week every week. I mean, they're undefeated, still just rolling through teams, but they had a great week. They went 4-0 this week with Patriot Athletic Conference wins over Lutheran West and Firelands, and non-conference wins over Elyria Catholic and McDowell from Pennsylvania. Really a tough team from the Pennsylvania area. They outscored those 4 opponents 42-1 and only allowed 4 hits. Sidney Campbell threw a no-hitter during one of those games.
Wow.
So the team set the school record for consecutive wins, which is now sitting at 57 for them, breaking the old mark of 54 set by the 1999 and 2000 teams. And they won their 12th straight Pac Stars Division Championship and the 13th in the 14 years the leagues have been in existence. The Wildcats haven't lost a league game since a 5-2 defeat to Black River on April 19, 2016. So they've won 55 straight league games. And altogether, overall, they're 198-6 all-time in Pac play.
That's just astounding. I read in the Chronicle where Keystone coach Jim Piazza said he's running out of adjectives to describe Sidney Campbell. Truly, you run out of adjectives to describe the Keystone program. I mean, how many different great words? You're the sports writer. How many different words can you come up with to describe the greatness of Keystone softball?
Well, I mean, they're true trailblazers. They have 982 wins. They're the winningest program in Ohio history. They don't really. I've looked for the national rankings to see where they sit nationally. They don't have like overall program victories that I can find, at least not on the National Coaches Association website. But I mean, they're set to be the first team to reach 1,000 wins next year. If they keep up the pace that they're at. The things that Sidney Campbell's doing as an individual and the team's doing as a team over the last 2 years, these streaks they're on, it's jaw-dropping.
It's absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
So well-deserving for Keystone. And again, on the boys' side, Elyria Catholic for our first Federal Savings of Lorain Teams of the Week. Well, we mentioned Elyria Catholic, and this week's Get a Grip features one of those terrific EC pitchers, young man by the name of Jack Laird. He's going to be heading to Seton Hall to compete at the collegiate level, but had a chance to get with Jack during a bullpen session. He was actually getting ready to go pitch a game that we had on WEOL when he pitched against Bay. So I was down there as he was warming up. So Jack Laird is going to show us his changeup, I believe, in Get a Grip. So here's EC pitcher Jack Laird.
Jack Laird, I'm a pitcher at Elyria Catholic, and I'm going to show you my changeup today.
All right, Jack, show us the grip of the changeup. So you've got all four fingers across the ball?
3 fingers on the ball, but it's mainly this finger and my pinky.
Okay, so when the ball comes off your hand, Jack, what sort of release? In other words, how are you spinning that ball?
I try to come straight down, but also pronate a little bit, because that's how I want it to cut.
Okay. And on a right-handed batter, is the changeup going to have movement at all, like down and in on a right-hander, or is it just going to be a straight change?
It's going to go down and in on a righty.
And from what I hear, a changeup will actually look like a fastball coming in, correct?
You want it to look like a fastball, and at the last second, you want it to drop off.
Want to do one more?
Yeah.
All right. Perfect. Well, Jack Laird has a wide array of pitches, but I'll tell you what, as he was talking about there, if you could hear him through the wind, just the grip of that ball and really fooling the batters as far as what it looks like coming off of his hand. It's a changeup, not a fastball.
Change up again, huh?
Yeah.
I think somebody's slipping these guys 20s to keep it slow from when they're behind the catcher.
Exactly. So again, a great big thank you to Jack Laird from Elyria Catholic for joining me on Get a Grip. Well, as we mentioned at the top of the show, baseball and softball unique in the fact that regular season games are played while tournament action begins. So we thought we'd take a look at some of the seedings and some of the tournament draws that are now both completed on the baseball and softball side. And Sean, softball-wise, some intriguing matchups.
Yeah, and it's kind of nice. Both the county number 1 seeds came in softball. Amherst in Division I at the number 1 seed at the Avon Lake District. Keystone, the number 1 seed at LaGrange. No surprise, they're actually nationally ranked. They're number 1 in the state in the coaches poll. But yeah, just again, that division over at Avon Lake for Division I. You've got Amherst, the number 1 seed, Elyria, the number 2 seed, Avon, the number 3 seed, and Midview, the number 4 seed. It seems like the teams are added each year. It's going to be a shootout at the OK Corral, the AL Corral over there. So yeah, that's just if you get a chance to go out to Avon Lake next week for the district tournament, you're going to see some fantastic softball played. Division II, obviously Keystone, probably on or potentially on a crash course with Firelands, who's on the other side of the bracket. They're the number 3 seed at the LaGrange district. They obviously just met last week for that PAC championship, so they'd like to probably get it together. They probably end up playing 3 times in less than 10 days if everything bodes the way it's supposed to. Division III, EC, the number 2 seed at the Avon Lake district, and Wellington, the number 3 seed. That very well could be a final, if those 2 teams make it to the end. And Division 4, Open Door was the number 10 seed. They're our only Division 4 team. They've already actually lost their sectional semifinal.
Right.
So that's the one thing with softball. Some of these teams have already been eliminated. But yeah, it's great looking softball postseason setups for some of these teams.
And Sean mentioned Division I and Division III over at Avon Lake. Get over there and catch that softball. But if you can't get there, all 6 games, all 6 D1 and D3 games, softball-wise from Avon Lake, will be on AM 930 WEOL. We'd love to see you there, but if you can't get there, you can dial them all in on AM 930. All right, over on the baseball side, the D1 district, actually it's going to be held at Strongsville this year. I know they've been at Lorain the past few years over at the Pipe Yard, but it has shifted over to Strongsville for the district level. In Division I, St. Ed's did get the number 1 seed. Locally, Amherst is the number 3 seed. Eddie Piazza's Elyria High team comes in at number 4, Avon at number 5, and North Ridgeville sitting at number 7. Again, higher seeded teams in sectional play get the home games, but that district will be held over at Strongsville High School. Division II, Keystone, as I mentioned, they're ranked number 4 in the state of Ohio. Of course, the softball program gets so much pub, and deservedly so, but boy, Bert Fitzgerald's baseball team, they've got an outstanding program as well. Keystone is the number 2 seed in Division II over at Tri-C, and also Firelands coming in at number 4 in that district, and Elyria Catholic, as I said, I think they're peaking at the right time. They could be a dark horse over there. Elyria Catholic at number 5. The Division III tournament shapes up this way. That's over at Lakewood as far as the district is concerned. The Wellington Dukes, Roger Sasak's team, having a very nice season. They're the number 3 seed, and there's a pretty steep drop after that. Black River at number 11. In Division IV, Columbia is number 6. That district will be taking place down at Medina, and Open Door is number 10. So, looking at the baseball side, boy, D1, St. Ed's has that great program. It's going to be tough for a local team to get out. D2 could be a real Donnybrook. Keystone, Firelands, Elyria Catholic. There's some terrific baseball amongst those programs. And by the way, we'll have some of those games covered on WEOL as well. We're proud to be the only radio station that covers baseball and softball. We hang our hat on that.
That's right.
All right. Well, as far as this part of Diamond Chat is concerned, it comes to a conclusion. But Sean Bennett's going to have a conversation with a former Elyria softball star who is now in the coaching ranks.
Right. Elyria Catholic's Megan Bay-Shaq. It's funny, Elyria Catholic is this is the Elyria Catholic edition of Diamond Chat, but just kind of plays out that way sometime. But you're right. She was a stud pitcher at Elyria. I remember this great story. It was her freshman year. They had like 4 freshmen, I think, they called them like the Fab 4 freshmen or whatever it was, and they had a great picture. They were on like a jungle gym in a like a playground or something like that. It was a great feature, but I do always remember that she was part of that group, and they just had just a great run for her 4 years in high school. Now she's getting it done at Elyria Catholic, and the great thing about Elyria Catholic is they play these D1 and D2 teams all year round to prepare themselves for the Division III sectional district tournament, and then they always do well. They'll sometimes go in right around 500 or something in record because they take their lumps against these top-level, high, big school programs, and then they go in and they make a nice run in the postseason. So I expect that to happen again this year.
All right, so Sean and Megan Bay-Shaq coming up next. But as far as this week's edition of Diamond Chat is concerned, thanks to Sean Bennett, Kristen Bauer once again behind the camera. Great big thank you to her. Biggest thanks goes to you who watched it. So Sean and Megan are up next, and until we talk again next week, so long, everybody.
All right, we're here in the dugout with the Elyria Catholic coach Megan Bay-Shaq. Just want to get right into a quick bit of interviews. How did you kind of get into coaching?
I mean, I've coached since I started college. I was with actually Angie Nicholson, who's from Elyria, was at Cleveland State. I started doing travel ball with her little 8U laser girls, and it's just stuck with me since. And I've been doing it every year, doing travel ball up through high school, into college, and back to high school again.
What do you consider probably the toughest part of the job?
Actually, deciding the lineups. When you have so many different options and you can do different combinations of figuring out what's going to be the best one for that game.
What's been your best coaching memories thus far?
Oh, goodness. My first year here, we went to regionals. That was a big thing right off the bat. Even being at Oberlin College, of getting that college experience of being a pitching coach there, that's a great memory, especially coaching with my old teammate from Cleveland State. That's always one of my favorites too.
What do you look for? What's like the most important intangible in a player?
You got to be able to do a bit of everything, not just play one spot, be able to play multiple spots, be able to hit, be able to butt, be able to run. But I think if they can truly understand the game and what they're doing, that's a big thing.
Do you have a favorite college program?
I'm an Oklahoma girl. I love Oklahoma and I love Alabama. Those are my 2 tops.
And when you see the schedule, who's kind of the opponents that you kind of get up for? Who's like kind of the tough opponents on the schedule for EC?
For us, it's always Wellington is a big one. Oberlin's been big because of Brianna Rivas. If we go conference-wise, it's always Holy Name. They're always the big dogs to beat, and they always have the X on their back, and that's a true test for us for conference.
Okay, well, I thank you for the time today, and good luck the rest of the season, Coach.
Thank you.